Hello there! I'm Navala and I've been playing Dead by Daylight for over 3 years now. So I'm going to share with you what I've learned to help make your introduction to Dead by Daylight be as smooth as possible, since this game can be confusing at the start. Now, the very first thing you should do as a brand new player is play the in-game tutorials of the Survivor and Killer roles. You can get to these tutorials by clicking the Help and Tutorials button, and then on the top here you'll see a Survivor and Killer, and you can mouse over and click which one you want to play. Doing these tutorials will give you an introduction to the game's mechanics, and it also awards you 25,000 blood points for each tutorial, meaning you get a total of 50,000 blood points right off the bat that you can spend on your characters and get a head start on your progress. You see, blood points are normally only awarded for doing things in real games, and the amount you get is based off the actions you do in a game. Just to explain blood points a bit more, there are 4 categories you get awarded blood points in. For Survivor, it's altruism, objective, survival, and boldness. Altruism points are awarded for doing things that help your team, such as healing them and saving them from hooks. Objective is gained by completing objectives in the trial, such as repairing generators and opening the exit gates, to name a few. Survival is gained by surviving the match, but also by doing things that ensure your survival, such as if you unhook yourself, you get survival points. Wiggling out of the killer's grasp will also grant you some survival points. And finally, boldness is gained by doing things that confront the killer, such as getting chased directly by the killer, stunning the killer, and other things that put you in the killer's path. Now, killers have different blood point categories. Their 4 categories are hunting, brutality, deviousness, and sacrifice. Hunting points are awarded for chasing survivors. Brutality is awarded from hurting survivors. Deviousness is a more complex category because the points you get change for every killer, since deviousness points are rewarded based off doing actions with the killer's power. Simply put, injuring or interacting with survivors with a killer's power is how you get devious points. You also get devious points for killing all 4 survivors. And the final category, sacrifice. You get points in this category based off how many times you hook survivors and if you manage to sacrifice a survivor on the hook. Now, in all of these categories, for both killer and survivor, you can only get a max of 8,000 blood points per category. That means you can get a max amount of 32,000 blood points per game, regardless of your role. However, there are offerings and perks though that can increase the blood points you are awarded after the match, so it is possible to get more than 32,000 blood points in a match. The 2 perks right now that award you more blood points is Leatherface's unique perk, Barbecue and Chili, and David King's unique perk, We're Gonna Live Forever. As for the offerings, there are blood point offerings for every category that I just described, for both killer and survivor. And the bonus blood points these offerings give are based on their rarity. I won't go over all their names, just know that rare offerings give 100%, uncommon give 75%, and common give 50% bonus blood points in a specific category listed in their descriptions. Survivor blood point offerings have images of flowers, while killer blood point offerings have wreaths. There are a total of 24 blood point offerings of this nature. There are more blood point offerings though. Bloody Party Streamers is an offering you can get on both sides, and it increases blood point gains for everybody by 100%. Then we have the survivor-specific offerings Bound Envelope, which grants 25% bonus blood points in all categories to all survivors in a trial only. Then there's the Uncommon Sealed Envelope that grants 25% bonus blood points in all categories, but only for the survivor who used it. And the last survivor-specific offering is the Escape Cake, which grants 100% bonus blood points in all categories to the survivor that uses it. On the killer side, they have the Uncommon Hollow Shell, that grants 25% bonus blood points in all categories. And they have the uncommon Survivor Pudding, that gives them 100% more blood points in all categories. All blood point offerings can stack with each other to increase your blood point gains even more. That just quickly summarizes the blood point offerings. Going into more detail about them is a subject for another video. Moving on, while the tutorial shows you the basic mechanics of Dead by Daylight, it doesn't go over everything that you're going to encounter in a game. So I just want to point out a few things to help you understand the game even more. When you play a game, you've probably noticed these objects that are made out of human bones. These are called dual totems. If you see a lit up one, this is a hex totem. Only 5 totems spawn on every map. Hex totems mean that the killer has a hex perk, and you should destroy them because destroying them deactivates the killer's hex perk. Whenever you activate the effects of a hex perk, the game will notify you on the left side of your screen the name and rank of the perk. You will also get this cursed icon on the right hand side of your screen for as long as the totem is alive. Now there are a variety of hex perks in the game, each with a different effect. There is even one hex perk that will only empower a dual totem when the exit gates are powered, and it allows the killer to down survivors in one hit, even if they are full health. This perk is called Hex No One Escapes Death. So it is worth it to destroy dual totems as well. Additionally, destroying a dual totem awards a sweet 1,000 blood points in the boldness category, and hex totems give you 1,500 blood points in the boldness category. If you want to know what all the hex perks do, you can go in a custom match and browse through all the killer perks. To make it easier to find them, these are all the hex perks currently in the game. Hex No One Escapes Death, a general perk available to all killers. Hex Ruin, a unique perk to the Hag. Hex Devour Hope, another unique perk to the Hag. And Hex Third Seal, the Hag's final unique perk. Hex Lullaby, a unique perk to the Huntress. Hex Haunted Ground, a unique perk to the Spirit. And Hex Thrill the Hunt, which is a general perk available to all killers. I also have a video explaining the hex perks in more detail, which I will link here for you. Another mechanic not included in the tutorials is the obsession effect. If you ever load into a game and see these weird spikes around your profile, or another survivor's profile, this means that you, or them, are the obsession. Now there are tons of obsession perks on both the survivor and killer side, but basically, there can only ever be one obsession active at any time during the match. Each obsession perk interacts with the obsession in different ways. On the killer side, you can be rewarded for attacking and or killing your obsession, but there are other killer perks that punish you for attacking or killing your obsession. On the survivor side, being the obsession is supposed to put you in danger, but usually you have a positive effect to make up for the danger you are put in. By knowing the obsession perks in the game, the killer can use this knowledge to figure out what perks a survivor has, and survivors can use it to figure out what perks the killer has. Again, you can check out these perks in a custom lobby to read all their effects. The survivor obsession perks are Soul Survivor, a unique perk to Lori, Object of Obsession, another unique perk to Lori, Decisive Strike, Lori's third unique perk, and Medal of Man, a unique perk to Ash. On the killer side, you have Save the Best for Last, a unique perk to Michael Myers, Play with Your Food, another unique perk to Michael Myers, Dying Light, Michael Myers' third unique perk, Dark Devotion, a unique perk to The Plague, Furtive Chase, a unique perk to Ghostface, Rancor, a unique perk to The Spirit, and Remember Me, a unique perk to Freddy Krueger. Again, I will have a video on the obsession effect, which I will link here for you if you want to know more about these perks and how the obsession works. And one last mechanic that you'll encounter are status effects. There are a variety of status effects in the game, most of which are applied by killers, but some can be applied by survivors as well. Currently, these are all the status effects: Exhausted, Hindered, Cursed, Madness, Exposed, Blindness, Bloodlust, Broken, Deep Wound, Hemorrhage, Mangled, Endurance, Haste, Undetectable, and Oblivious. I know, sounds like a lot, right? Well, each of these status effects are represented by the unique symbols you see on the screen right now. These will be displayed on the right side of your screen when you are under the effects of it. Be aware there are some exceptions to that, though. For example, Deep Wound is not represented by an icon, it is represented by an orange bar under your profile in the bottom left corner. Now, positive status effects appear in yellow, while negative status effects appear in red. If a status effect is timer based, you'll see a gray outer circle slowly deplete around the icon. If it is not, you will just see the icon on your screen until whatever is causing the effect is removed, such as destroying a hex totem to deactivate a perk that causes the status effect. The example I'm showing here is you see the skull icon, that means I have exposed on me, but I destroy the hex totem powering hex, no one escapes death, and then the exposed icon falls off. I have a playlist going over several of these status effects, and I'm working to get a video out on all of them to help out players like you. So I will make sure to link it here as well for you to go check out if you have any questions about the status effects, what they do, and what causes them. You can also see a short description of each status effect by going to Help and Tutorials, then go to the game, and it is on the second page here, which I'm showing you now. It gives a brief description of each status effect. The next question you're probably wondering about now is about the characters. You know how the game works, but what character are you going to play? Well, each character has 3 unique perks only available to them. You can read each character's unique perks by first choosing which side you want to be on, the survivor or the killer, and then you can press F1 or click over here where I'm showing you now, and it will pop up this screen which tells you the character's backstory and shows their 3 unique perks. When you mouse over the perk, it will show you the description of the rank 1 version of that perk. Now, each character's unique perks are automatically unlocked for them, so you can test them out in matches. But at level 1, your characters will only have access to 1 perk slot. Remember that 50k blood points you got from the tutorial? Well, you can use those to level up characters through the Blood Web. You access the Blood Web here, and the Blood Web will give you more perks, as well as items, add-ons, and offerings that you can use in your games. Every time you buy everything inside a Blood Web, the character you are on goes up 1 level. If you can get a character to level 30, a teachable version of one of their unique perks appears on the Blood Web. Once you buy it, there is a chance for that perk to appear on all your other characters' Blood Webs. That way you can have any perk on any character. The other levels that teachables appear on the Blood Web are levels 35 and 40. It's important to know that the max level for a character is 50, but you only need to get them to 40 to get their 3 unique perks unlocked for all your other characters. Leveling up a character isn't the only way to get teachable perks though. If you go into the store and then go to the Shrine of Secrets, you can see 4 teachable perks here. The perks on the Shrine of Secrets are refreshed every week and give you an opportunity to get unique perks without having to level that character up. Each of these perks costs iridescent shards, and you get iridescent shards by leveling up your player level, which you do through playing games, because every game you play gives you an experience. Once you get enough experience, your player level goes up and you get iridescent shards. Most of the teachable perks cost 2,000 iridescent shards, but the teachable perks of perks that have been recently introduced to the game will be more expensive and cost 2,700 iridescent shards. If there is a teachable perk that you have already bought on the shrine, you can get blood points instead. However, with so many characters to choose from, how can you decide on who to level first? Well, first off, you want to determine which role is right for you. Do you want to be a survivor or a killer? Test each role out in games to figure out what suits your liking more. Once you know which role you want, then you can take a look at the characters. On the survivor's side, a great beginner character is Claudette Morel, because of her perk Self-Care, which allows her to heal herself. She can combine this with her other perk Botany Knowledge to increase her healing speed as well. Another great character to start off with is Meg Thomas, because of her perk Sprint Burst, which helps her gain a lot of distance in a short amount of time, if the killer catches you off guard. Her other perk, Adrenaline, can also be useful as you learn the game because it heals you when the gates are powered and gives you an even longer sprint than Sprint Burst. As you play Survivor, make sure you learn the maps, the generator spawns, and the safe areas, because map knowledge is very powerful in this game as well. Knowing how to be safe and how to put yourself in the best situation is very important. So those are the 2 survivors that I recommend you play first as you learn the game. Now if you want to be a killer, I would suggest starting with Wraith. That's the killer I started with. Wraith will help you get the basics of playing killer down. His power is simple to use so you don't confuse yourself by trying to learn too many things at once. Wraith can turn invisible, and while invisible he moves a lot faster but cannot attack. When he uncloaks, he has a short speed burst and can attack normally. As you play, just try to learn the maps, where survivors spawn, and where survivors like to run too. Get used to following those scratch marks, which indicate the direction a survivor ran in, as well as following bloodstains on the ground. And most importantly, listen, listen, listen! Sound is the most important thing as killer in this game, and to be a successful killer, you should wear headphones and always keep your ears open. You'll be surprised by how much you can hear. You can hear grass rustling, you can hear survivor breathing, you can hear their footsteps, you can hear the rustle of their clothes as they vault windows or just move around in general. You can hear a lot. Now once you learn what places survivors are most likely to be, you can try other killers such as the Trapper, who relies on predicting where survivors are going to go throughout the match. And the number 1 killer I definitely recommend to everybody is the Nurse, because she is the best killer in the game at the moment, but the Nurse relies on being able to predict survivor movements. So she is definitely an advanced killer to play, because if you have no idea how to utilize her power, the match will not go your way. And again, if you want to explore for yourself about all the kinds of perks, items, add-ons, and offerings in the game, you can go to a custom match, because here you will have access to every perk, item, add-on, and offering except for blood point offerings in the game. You can read through their descriptions and decide which ones you want to go for. The best way to learn is through experience. Try to figure out what you did wrong in one game so you can improve in the next. I've done this myself and even have videos criticizing my mistakes to help others learn from them. And take time to try and learn every map. Map knowledge is huge in this game and will help you a lot both as survivor and as killer. When you get more familiar with how the game works, you can expand your knowledge even more. I don't want this video to be too long, but don't worry. If you need more information, I have a playlist going over the mini stats effects in Dead by Daylight, another one that goes over every single survivor's 3 unique perks, and if you want some tips for when you are in a game, I have a survivor tip playlist. And in my gameplay videos, I am constantly saying my thought process and also giving out tips here and there throughout the video. If you have any additional questions about anything in the game, comment below and I will help you out. Make sure to leave a like if this video helped you out. And subscribe for more informative videos because I am making more and more. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, good luck out there in the fog, and see you next time. And here's a bonus tip for those of you that watched all the way to the end. And my tip for you is, if you recognize a strong area like this one, and the killer refuses to break that pallet, stick to that area and abuse the fact that they don't break the pallet. Now you can recognize a strong loop area because there's a lot of objects in the way, creating a lot of distance between me and the killer. And also these objects prevent the hillbilly from using his chainsaw to catch up with me. So you can see he's refusing to break the pallet and I just keep jumping the pallet to get across when I need to, or I just run around the loop itself to break distance. You have to be careful though because the killer does gain Bloodlust, which is a speed boost over time. So I know I can't keep using it forever because eventually he'll catch up with me, and that's why I'm running this way now, after that pallet jump. And so now that Hillbilly's using his chainsaw because he thinks he could get me, but he doesn't. The turn is too sharp for him to make. And because he used his chainsaw, his bloodlust was automatically dropped. So all that time he spent chasing me to get that bloodlust was completely wasted. Now I'm just trying to figure out what the hillbilly is doing. I'm not running because I do not want to leave scratch marks. I want the billy to think that I walked somewhere else. And the reason the billy lost me there is because he was trying to play mind games. Now, the billy eventually gives up, goes to the other exit gate, and that allows me to open this exit gate here and escape. So, again, the tip with that clip is that when the killer refuses to break a pallet, just abuse that loop. Don't run to another area because you're already in a safe area, so why ditch a safe area when you don't have to? And that's all I have for you for now. Thank you very much for watching and sticking to the end.